Sponsorship is important, and you can believe that this man is like my son as well as my sponsee. I give you Melvin M.
Good evening, family. My name is Melvin. I'm an addict. Clean today only through God's amazing grace. I need to always thank God for sponsorship as well as the fellowship in the program of Narcotics Anonymous. Could you join me in a moment of silence so I can ask God to continue to direct my life? Thank you. Once again, family, my name is Melvin. I'm an addict. Clean today only through God's amazing grace. I need to always thank God for sponsorship and thank God for the fellowship as well as the program of Narcotics Anonymous. First and foremost, I want to thank Almighty God for everything. I want to thank God for all He's done for me, all He's doing for me, and whatever He has planned for me. Because I know whatever God got planned for me is a lot better than what I got planned for myself. And I'm going to talk a lot about God, and I'm going to talk a lot about sponsorship. And if you got a problem with either one of them, the only thing I can suggest you keep coming back. Because I got to talk about what's been blessing me and keeping me one day at a time. I would like to thank MACNA 13. I know this is a worldwide fellowship. I know they could have got a lot of people to come and do this. And I want to thank God that they gave me the opportunity. I also want to thank the programming committee and the convention committee, because when we come to the convention, we don't see the hard work that they've done all year. We enjoy the convention for 4 days, but we don't see their hard-won experience and the internal and the external controversy. We don't see the humility. We don't see the gratitude. We don't see the spirituality. But what we bear witness when we get here is the power of God. That God in His mercy and His grace allowed us to know that as a group that we need this convention to help save our life. So God let us come here to let somebody see the evidence that the program of Narcotics Anonymous and that God is alive in this program. I need you to know that I don't believe in a whole lot of stuff I hear inside the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, because I know that you can get misinformed and misdirected right up in here. I know that this is the fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous, but that the program of Narcotics Anonymous embodied in the 12 steps and 12 traditions. And I know that if you don't come here and be blessed through God's grace to become a part of the program of Narcotics Anonymous, you're just going to be a part of the fellowship. And what you're going to find out that there are people in the fellowship that's got their own program. And it's all right for you to have your own program, but I need you to know it ain't got no saving power. So when I hear you say my program, you can keep it. And I might say some things that offend somebody, and I'd like to apologize right now because check this out. I ain't here trying to save your feelings. I'm here trying to save my life. And if you think your feelings are more important than principles, then get on top of this building and jump and don't feel like falling. You're going to find out it ain't got nothing to do with your feelings. You know, and we try to play on words around here. You know, when a person gets some courage or gets some confidence, they try to say that you're arrogant and you cocky. But recovery and relapse say cockiness is a red light indicator. So it ain't about, you understand me? See, we talking about spiritual principles. And once you get into spiritual principles, you're not going to confuse confidence and courage with cockiness and arrogance. So only through God's mercy and grace, when I tell you where I come from, you know it ain't got nothing to do with cockiness or arrogance. It's only through God's mercy and His grace that I had the courage, because somebody got to have the courage to talk about the truth. See, you got a lot of people in here will tell you in Narcotics Anonymous, what worked for me might not work for you. You better find out what they're working with, because the truth will work for anybody. So before I get wound up, I want to thank some people. I want to thank all you loving and caring people. But I really want to thank the new people, because you are the most important person here tonight, because you're giving us the opportunity to do God's will. You're giving us the opportunity to give back to you what was so freely given to us. And that's our experience, strength, and hope on the 12 step and 12 tradition. God is allowing us to give to you what somebody gave to us to help us get another day clean. I want to thank Frank, Brother Jerry, on the convention committee, Kevin, and I believe it's a sister named Debbie, for keeping in contact with me and helping my transition here be smooth. I also want to thank some loving and caring people I've met since I've been here. From Birmingham, Alabama, from Miami, Florida, from New Orleans, from Greensville, South Carolina, and for all you wonderful people that have embraced me and showed me your love. Also, I want to thank Brother Van. I think that was Brother Jules that shared with you. When I first got here, I put my bags in the room and I went straight to a meeting. And the brother said, man, you ain't gonna settle in before you go to a meeting? I said, going to a meeting is settling in.
Bring it on, man. Bring it on, man.
I want to thank that brother, Sin Q. Where you at, Sin Q? Stand up. Stand up, brother. That brother showed me the true therapeutic value of one addict helping another, him and his wife, Kim. I also want to thank Brother Greg over here and his wife, Donna, for praying with me. And notice I said brother. See, I'm talking about God done brought me to a place spiritually where everybody in here is my brother and my sister. And God has worked on me to the point where even if you don't consider me your brother or your sister, I still consider you mine. Because I have learned how to love people the way God loves us. I don't have the power to love you like God, but God has gave me some power to learn how to love. See, one thing that I found out about the 12 steps and 12 traditions and about the program of Narcotics Anonymous. See, a person trying to get better say it might be difficult, but I know it's possible. A person that's talking about they still sick, they say it's possible, but it's too difficult. So that's why you be in the meeting talking about you still sick.
Open that up.
Because if you get a dictionary and look up the definition of sick, when it talks about the mind, it says that it's twisted, unsound, and defective. So when you're in the meeting talking about you still sick, you're saying that you're unsound, you twisted, and you defective. And what you're telling the new person is that you don't have the ability to help them. This is why I don't get confused with the fellowship and the program. Yes, the fellowship is important, because if your leg get broke when you go to the hospital, they give you some crutches. The crutches don't change the fact that your leg is broke, but it allows you to support yourself until you're able to support your own self or stand up on your own a little bit. That's what we do in here. We support you through the pain, but we can only carry the message. We can't carry the addict. So when people around here be talking about fake it till you make it, I wasn't faking like I was in no condemned building before I got here. I was in a condemned building for real. I wasn't faking like I was dirty, nasty, greasy, and funky. I was dirty, nasty, greasy, and funky for real. I wasn't faking like I was eating out the garbage before I got here. I was eating out the garbage for real. I wasn't faking like I had no drug problem before I got here. I had a drug problem for real. So how you gonna give me a fake solution to a real problem? That's what the program of Narcotics Anonymous is for, to help you stop faking. Then you know we say, well, I love to see the newcomer, you remind me of the pain. I love to see the newcomer, you remind me it's still out there. What, the mirrors don't work in your house, you got Alzheimer's or something? Because my sponsors say when you see somebody new, it's time to help somebody. When you see somebody new, it's time to love somebody. When you see somebody new, it's time to care about somebody. When you see somebody new, it's time for you to do whatever you can for that person like somebody did for you. Why they can't remind you of that? So let me tell you a little bit about how I got here. I'm born and raised on the south side of Chicago. But this disease took me a whole lot of places I didn't want to go, and the west side of Chicago was one of them. My fine-tuned state of mind told me one day to take all this guy's money and all this drugs, and that's exactly what I did. But when all the money and the drugs was gone, I suffered the same consequences I had been suffering for I don't know how long. See, when I first came around, I used to say I was in a bandit building. But my sponsor told me I was in a condemned building, because if it had been a bandit, I wouldn't have been in it. So what I've learned, I was in a condemned building. But when I came outside this condemned building, I got a cousin that's been to treatment twice. My cousin said, man, listen, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you need to do something. You need to go somewhere and get you some help. But what I've learned is whatever you do best, you do the most, and whatever you become comfortable with, you become a part of. I went right inside this store and stole me some 2 for $1 cookies. Because for so long, that was my diet, cookies and potato chips. And a lot of days, I didn't eat it all because using had become the most important thing in my life. When I came outside the store, my cousin was crying. He said, look, man, I don't know what you're going to do, but you need to do something. You need to go somewhere and get you some help. I went right down the street to this woman's storefront church and beat on her door and rung her bell. And when she came to the door, she said, why'd you beating on my door and ringing my bell like you crazy? I said, I just slept in that condemned building across the street. I say, I'm dirty, nasty, greasy, and funky, homeless, helpless, and hopeless. My feet is frostbit. I got a drug problem and I need some help. When I first came around here, I said something had me to go to that woman's door. But I learned that God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And God was doing for me what could no human being do for me at that moment. And that was allowing me not no second chance, but another chance at life. This woman called a hospital. If you know anything about frostbite feet, you have your leaders, your tendons, your veins, your arteries, and your skin. And medically, when you first arrive in the hospital, there's absolutely nothing they can do for you. Your feet have to begin to heal at room temperature and body temperature. Wherever your feet has been discolored, that means gangrene has set in. And if they don't amputate that part of your foot, then like this disease, it will spread through your body and kill you. So she called the police. I've been gang banging a great deal of my life. I've been in and out of institutions all my life, and I ain't never had nothing in common with the police in my life. But once again, God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself, and God was doing for me what could no human being do for me at that moment, and that was allow me another chance at life. They took me to the hospital, and I had plastic bags, and I had addict socks on, you know, just the toe part. The rest of them was plastic bags, shoes with the holes in them. And you know, when the lady took them off, the nurse, she was like, oh my God. And you know how we is, we act like, what? So when she took all the plastic off and started wrapping my feet up with the towels, I had no money, no ID, no medical card, no insurance. So as a direct result of that, they did absolutely nothing for me. They just wrapped my feet up with towels, and after about a week and a half, they needed the bed, and quite naturally, I had to go. In Chicago, they used to have a big old blue truck with 3 big old white letters. Now it's a big old white truck with 3 big old blue letters. Why they changed the color, I don't know. But these people come and got me and took me to a shelter. Inside this shelter, everybody was using. The same thing they did on the street, they did in this shelter. They shot dope, smoked crack, snort dope, drink, and at night you couldn't get in the bathroom because they had lines in the bathroom using. So I had a 2-liter pop bottle that I used to take to bed in order for me to urinate, and I used to have to crawl on my hands and knees to the toilet, sit down, take care of my business, and crawl on my hands and knees back to my bed. And my bed's about further from where I'm standing, maybe from this wall to that camera. And they was gang banging, and I had on I don't know how many pair of clothes, but I also had a big old rusty butcher knife about this big. I had it wrapped up in some towels, and I said to myself, if they bother me, I'm gonna do what I got to do. But the way I was dirty, nasty, greasy, and funky, and the way I was smelling, didn't nobody bother me and didn't nobody want to. See, I'm a person in Narcotics Anonymous. I'm talking about Melvin. And a process is a gradual change which produces a certain result. And what you're looking at is the evidence I choose to call God. And before I get to sounding like I'm articulate or well-educated, that ain't the case. Only through God's mercy and His grace, God has allowed me to go back to school, and my sponsor tell us to get a dictionary so we can understand what we read and internalize it and begin to live it. Right. I'm not no addict, got no program and act like it. I got a program and I live like it. Right. The literature say find a new way to live, not a new way to act. So my acting days is over.
Bring it on, Melvin!
Before I go any further, I always read this. And it's the last paragraph of Tradition 5. And the last paragraph of Tradition 5 says, what is our message? The message that an addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live. Our message is hope and the promise of freedom. When all is said and done, our primary purpose can only be to carry the message to the addict who still suffer, because that's all we had to give. Now on page 20, when it's talking about the first step, it says, our inability to control our uses of drugs is a symptom of the disease of addiction. We are powerless not only over drugs, but over our addiction as well. We need to admit this fact in order to recover. Addiction is a physical, mental, and spiritual disease that affects every area of our lives. What is our message? The message that an addict, any addict, can stop using drugs, physical, lose the desire to use, mental, and find a new way to live, spiritual. So I'm real grateful to God that I found a new way to live and not a new way to act. So only through the mercy as well as the grace of God, and God's mercy when I was using, me not getting what I did deserve, and God's grace today is getting what I don't deserve. See, I hear people say that I qualify to be here. I earned a seat here. I didn't earn no seat here and I didn't qualify to be here. It's only through God's mercy and His grace, through you people's prayers, that I was allowed to get here. I stopped here on the way to the funeral home. And my life ain't been the same. I stopped here on the way to the funeral home. So I'm talking about through the mercy as well as the grace of God. When I got to this shelter, there's a sister got 16 years clean. She was a counselor when I got there in 1994. And the sister, she done been laid off now, but she just got laid off, and she was a counselor right up to a few months ago. This sister said, listen, we can't do nothing about your frostbite feet because they sent me to the hospital over 5 times. But by me having no money, no ID, no medical card, no insurance, they did absolutely nothing for me. So she said, listen, we can't do nothing but your frostbite feet, but I see inside your folder you got a drug problem and you're going to have to make a meeting. The only thing I know about was game meetings. I'm trying to figure out what kind of meeting she's talking about. She said, I'm talking about a meeting that's going to help save your life. I said, well, I'm not going in there. She said, oh, yeah, you going. I said, I bet you the way my feet are, I ain't going up in there. She said, okay, ain't no problem. She got 2 guys to help me to the quarter. She said, now you got a choice. Either you going inside this front door, going inside this meeting, or you going outside that front door. The last part of January 1994, it was 30 and 40 below zero outside. I was dirty, nasty, greasy, and funky. I was homeless, hopeless, and helpless. My feet was frostbite, I couldn't walk. Choice wasn't hard. I went inside the meeting. And I didn't want to be in here. See, I need to tell a new person. I've never been to detox. I've never been to treatment. And I'm not saying that to brag or boast. I'm letting you know the program of Narcotics Anonymous works. So I continue to make meetings. I had 2 pockets of paraphernalia. I had them in them Seagum 7 bags. I had 2 of them. And I had everything in there. The clarification statement meant absolutely nothing to me because I couldn't hear when I got here no way. See, you can attend a meeting but don't be in the room. How you do that? Yeah, you can be in here right now and don't be in this meeting.
That's right.
You know how that record used to say, Rita? Hey, Rita, you know how that record used to say, your body's here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town? So you could be right in this meeting with your mind on the other side of town. So I attended the meeting, so my fine-tuned state of mind told me, said, look, Melvin, this is what we're going to do. Said, we're going to take the paraphernalia and rent it out, and we're going to save enough money when the fee gets better, we're going to go use. That was a good idea to me. But there's only 2 plans, my plan and God's plan, and mine don't matter. So I kept saving the money, kept renting out the paraphernalia, and I kept making meetings. Because the confirmation slip that they give you, that you have to sign when you go to the meeting, well, every Friday, the only thing that this shelter would do consistently, they would call you to a table. And if you didn't have at least 4 meetings a week, they would put you out, no ifs, ands, buts about it. So I didn't have nowhere to go, plus I couldn't walk, so I made meetings. But I'm a person that don't believe. I'm talking about Melvin. I don't believe there's no such thing as a foxhole prayer. I don't believe that. I believe God hear your prayers whether you mean them or not.
That's right. That's right.
But I also believe how sincerely you pray is direct in proportion to what you receive. This is why this program, see, what we need to learn is this. And you know, you hear people talking about, well, this program ain't taught, it's caught. Well, I've been here 9.5 years, I ain't caught it yet. But let's see what the literature say about caught and taught. Now this is page 77, Recovery and Relapse. At the bottom of the page it says, we must relearn.
Right. Come on. Well.
Bottom of page 77, it says, we must relearn many things that we have forgotten and develop a new approach to life if we are to survive. This is what Narcotics Anonymous is all about. It is about people who care about desperate dying addicts and who in time teach them how to live without drugs.
Come on, Melvin.
Many of us have difficulty coming into the fellowship because we did not understand that we had a disease of addiction.
Right.
We sometimes see our past behavior as part of ourselves and not part of our disease. I ain't no dope fiend today.
All right.
I ain't no crackhead today.
All right.
I'm a recovering addict
Teach. All right.
that's in the program of Narcotics Anonymous. The dope fiend and the crackhead is who I was. The recovering addict is who I am. So when I kept making meetings and kept having this paraphernalia and I kept wanting to use,
All right.
see, God will meet your prayers. If you're a man and you say, God, I want to do your will. I want to be faithful to one woman. And then when you go out and you present it with 10 women and you be told, it's God testing me. You ain't that important. God ain't got to test you. God know your heart already. But that be Satan testing the God in you. See, when you pray for God's will, God meets your prayer. You say, God, I want to be faithful to one woman, then Satan put 10 in front of you. Now your prayers have been met. Either you be faithful to that one woman or you keep serving Satan. See, we keep talking about God and the higher power, but Satan got power too. When you give it to him, he like the dope. He'll take straight over. So when I'm inside the meeting, you understand what I'm saying? He in the meeting with me. I had 2 pockets of paraphernalia I still wanted to use. But I told you it's 2 plans. My plan and God's plan, and mine don't matter. See, God met my prayers when I was in those condemned buildings crying, saying, God, please help me. When I come out the condemned building and my cousin right there, I go inside the store, I come out the store, I go beat on a woman's storefront church, tell me I need some help. After 22 years of active addiction. See, what you're looking at in here is the unbelievable. You're looking at the power of God. When you tell somebody what happened to you, they don't believe it. You don't look like that done happened. God's showing you the unbelievable. You understand? Look in the mirror. It's unbelievable.
Yes, sir.
Go in your pocket, you got money. Unbelievable. Look at all these beautiful sisters in here. Not one of them looked like they was out there. Unbelievable. Look at all the men in here. Look at this brother. Look at Ali. Stand up, Ali. Man, stand up. Stand up. You understand? Unbelievable. Yeah, that's God. You understand? Look, if you're a new person, if you ain't been here nothing but a second, there's some people here got days. Look around this room. You see the power of something working in here that wasn't working out there. That's God allowing you to see the evidence this program worked. Letting you see that he ain't gonna do no more for you than he did for us. The message is hope and the promise of freedom. We hope you can surrender today and enjoy the freedom from active addiction one day at a time like we have. So I'm talking about, listen, man, I had 2 pockets of paraphernalia. I'm telling you a true story. I had 2 people speaking just like I'm speaking now and started crying and couldn't stop. Got up out of my seat, crawled to the toilet on my hands and knees and flushed all the money and all the paraphernalia down the toilet. Came back in the meeting for the first time in my life. I didn't say my name was Melvin, help me. I said my name is Melvin, please help me. And when you ask for help in Narcotics Anonymous, help becomes available. See, God is just as instant as you is. The moment you're ready for him, the moment he's ready to help you. Yeah. So I'm talking, I heard these 2 people speaking like I'm speaking now and started crying and couldn't stop. But I know what was wrong with me. See, when I started making me, look, I didn't want nobody telling me nothing. I didn't want to hear nothing, and I didn't want to do nothing. But y'all learned me what was wrong with me. Because you never know what you got until you have to use it. And if you ain't got nothing, then you got to use what's ever available. Let me tell you that again. You never know what you got until you have to use it. And if you ain't got nothing, you got to use what's ever available. The only thing I had was the untreated addiction, the unaddressed character defect, and the unresolved issue. The main components of addiction are obsession and compulsion. Untreated addiction is the main components of obsession and compulsion. Unaddressed character defect. That's all the behavior I learned before the dope. I was stealing before I even know what dope was. But the difference between before I was using and when I was using, before I was using, I cared about who I stole from. After I started using, it didn't make no difference. So the dope enhanced the problem I had already. You hear people say, well, you know, Dwight, the drugs made me a thief. You was a thief before you started messing with dope. Because don't nothing come out you but what's down in you. In order for that to come out, it had to be in there. All you did was let it loose. It resurfaced. And my addiction bust out all over again. Because it talks about the potential addict. They say some of us addict long before we use. I'm just telling you about the lyrics. Now look, check this out. Now, look. Now you have people, they tell me, well, Melvin, then when they say, Melissa, you understand, Ray? They say, well, listen, I really don't know. What is an unresolved issue? They say, we know about the untreated addiction. We know about the unaddressed character defect. But what is an unresolved issue? Well, let me help you out. Everybody in here that's a parent, if you got a child, stand up. If you got a child, stand up. Now, if you're not with the person you had the child with, sit down. Them is unresolved issue. And look. See, whenever I talk, whenever I'm allowed to speak, I like for y'all to get involved. The reason I like for y'all to get involved, and I'm going to ask you again, because it ain't about me. It ain't about me. It's about us. This is a we program. Look, the theme is unity. And I'm up here, you know what I'm saying, I'm fronting right now. I'm acting like I don't need them. Yeah, look here. It's a unity. Unity, the state of being one. Singleness. That means, listen, we just as important to each other as we is. Look, ain't none of us important by ourselves as we all is together. We talking about the we. All of us, you understand, in this room right now, it might be many minds, but it's one thought. To carry the message to the addict who still suffers. It say the quality of state of accord or agreement. Okay, what's the quality of accord or agreement? Let me tell you. This is the quality right here. This is the quality of agreement. There are no strings attached to NA. We are not affiliated with any other organization. We have no initiation fees or dues, no pledges to sign, no promises to make to anyone. We are not connected with any political, religious, or law enforcement group, and we are under no surveillance at any time. Here we go with the agreement. Anyone may join us, regardless of age, race, sexual identity, creed, religion, or lack of religion. It said a combination or arrangement of parts into a whole unification. Into a whole unification. This is why we read Who's an Addict? What's the Narcotics Anonymous program? Why are we here? How it works. The 12 traditions, just for the day, and the meditation. Well, let's read the meditation. Let's start with December the 5th. It say, though. That's a good question. This is why. Newcomer. Those who want to recover. We have seen the program work for any addict who honestly and sincerely wants to stop using drugs. Basic text, page 10. How do we know when someone honestly and sincerely wants to stop using drugs? The truth is that we don't know, because we cannot read minds or know another's motives and desires. We simply have to hope for the best. We may talk to a newcomer at a meeting and think we'll never see them again, only to find them several years later doing well in their recovery. We may be tempted to give up on someone who keeps relapsing or doesn't get clean right away, but we must not. No matter how unwilling someone may seem, a simple fact remains: the addict is at a meeting. We may never know the results of our 12-step work. It is not up to us to gauge the willingness of a newcomer. The message we carry is a part of us. We carry it everywhere and share it freely, leaving the results to a power greater than ourselves. Just for the day, I will share my recovery with any addict, anywhere, anytime, under any circumstance. I will lead the results to my higher power. Now, I'm going to say some things, and it might, you know what I'm saying, kind of disturb some people. So let's read our Just for the Day again. Oh, I am. Trust me. February 23rd, message and messenger. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principle before personality. Tradition 12. The 12 traditions remind us of the importance of putting principles before personality. In recovery meetings, this might be paraphrased: don't shoot the messenger. We often get the message confused with the messenger and negate with someone shares at a meeting because we have personal conflict with that person speaking. Now, my sponsor helped me with this word right here. It says that we often get the message confused with the messenger and negate what someone shares at a meeting. The word negate means to rule out, to deny, to make ineffective, or null, like none and void. That's right. It says, because we have personality conflict with the person speaking. If we're having problems with what certain people have to share at meetings, we might want to seek the guidance of our sponsor. Our sponsor can help us concentrate on what's being said rather than who's saying it. Our sponsor can also help us address the resentments that may be keeping us from acknowledging the value of some particular person's recovery experience. It is surprising how much more we can get out of meetings when we allow ourselves to do as our 12 traditions suggest, focusing on recovering principles rather than personality. Just for the day, I will practice the principles of anonymity in today's NA meeting. I will focus on the message of recovery, not the personality of the messenger. So it says singleness or constancy of purpose or action. We still talking about unity now. Singleness or constancy of purpose of action. Narcotics Anonymous has a singleness of purpose. that they deal with the disease of addiction better than any other fellowship. Their primary purpose is to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. Primary, by definition, means first. That's our first purpose in a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, is to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. So I'm real grateful to God for my predecessors. I'm grateful to God that you people was here when I got here. Because I said you never know what you got until you have to use it. And if you ain't got none, you got to use what's ever available. See, I was using bad information because I was getting it from misinformed people. But the day I asked for help, help became available. See, for over 22 years, I didn't know what my problem was. The first step said we admitted we was powerless over our addiction, and our lives have become unmanageable. Look at the word powerless. It's a word that has a prefix and a suffix. Just like if you, somebody say power, that's the prefix, and the suffix is less, L-E-S-S. Like you homeless. Wherever you see the word L-E-S-S, that means without. So if you're homeless, that means you're without a place to stay. Like you penniless, that means you're without money. But even though it says without, it means that what you could change. Because if you're homeless, you can become a part of a program that help you with housing, and you're no longer homeless. If you're penniless, you can get a job and create an income, and now you're no longer penniless. So if you're powerless over the addiction, once you surrender, then you gain some power, because now you got the power of choice. But I said addiction, we're powerless over addiction. That means I'm without power over addiction. Well, what is addiction? Addiction is a sick psychological or pathological reaction to anything with life-damaging consequences, and is not limited to drugs and alcohol. Let me say that again. That addiction is a sick psychological or pathological reaction to anything with life-damaging consequences, and is not limited to drugs and alcohol. When I said sick, sick implies there's an illness. You deal with an illness three ways: with medication, treatment, or therapy. This is therapy for us. The therapeutic value of one addict helping another. But I said sick psychological. Like if I say, Dwight, I want you to psychologically leave the room. I said, oh my God, how you gonna do all that? But when you hear the word psychic, all it means is dealing with the mind. All logical means what make good sense to the mind, or what make good sense. See, going inside a condemned building at 30 and 40 below zero don't make good sense to the mind, and don't make good sense. Having money and know your kids need some shoes, but going to buy a bag don't make good sense to the mind, and don't make good sense. Knowing your kids need clothes, instead of you buying clothes, you go buy a bag. That don't make good sense to the mind. That don't make good sense. Jumping in and out of cars, letting somebody beat your brains out, do any and everything to you, jumping out of that car, then jump right back into another one, don't make good sense to the mind. That don't make good sense. So that means there was something wrong with the way I think. But I said sick psychological or pathological. If you ask me right now, Melvin, what you keep picking that book up for? I said, I don't know. Pathological means the repetitious behavior to keep doing something over and over again against my will and can't explain why. That's pathological. The repetitious behavior to keep doing something over and over again against my will and can't explain why. Like using. So I asked my sponsor, I said, well, what makes me powerless over the addiction? He said, because Melvin, you suffer from the obsession of the mind. I said, well, what's an obsession? He said, an obsession is a fixed idea or emotion that predicts, dictates, or controls one life or behavior. That's an obsession, a fixed idea or emotion. That means based on how I think or how I feel, that predicts, dictates, or controls one life or behavior. Like when you see me with $5, the wife say, oh, he ain't finna do nothing, go around the corner and give me a bag. Because I'm living a lifestyle that's got a predictable outcome.
All right.
Then it dictates. Watch he go right in that basement.
That's right.
It dictates. Then it controls. Say, watch he come up out that basement looking like he done lost his mind and can't even talk. Then I come out the basement. Because now I'm no longer in control. Say, go ask him something, he can't even talk. Say, where you been? Because every vital sign I got, the drugs done took over. And what we think is it good, them mild strokes and mild heart attacks. When a person be, and you be standing back to me, ooh, that's the bomb. Where you get that from? You can't even talk. Be slobbing out the mouth. So we talking about the obsession. It's a fixed idea that dictates or controls one life or behavior. You know how you women say, well, I'm gonna go give my son some Payless. I ain't gonna get him no Jordan. That sounds like a good idea. See, I'm gonna take my daughter to the secondhand store. I ain't gonna take her to the mall. That sounds like a good idea. You say, I ain't gonna put no more water in their cereal, I'm gonna put some real milk in there. That sounds like a good idea, but we talking about the fixed idea, we talking about the obsession. But I got to go get me a bag first. Now once I go get the bag, the milk ain't important, the Payless ain't important, the secondhand store ain't important, because my kids ain't important no more. Matter of fact, once I take a hit, I ain't even got kids. Once I give in to the obsession, because listen, I believe a mother's love is the strongest love on the planet Earth. I don't believe when you walk away from your kids and they the size of that little girl over there, they babies, and when you come back, they teenagers. I don't believe you intentionally do that. I don't believe you go into a nod when they that size, and when you come out the nod, they grown. I don't believe you intentionally do that. But it talks about an overwhelming force, the power, destructive power. We turn our life over to a bag at a time. So when I found that, I asked my sponsor, when I give in to the obsession, what happened? He said, well, let's look at page 5. Page 5 say, like other incurable diseases, addiction can be arrested. We agree that there's nothing shameful about being an addict, provided we accept our dilemma. Honestly, what is a dilemma? A dilemma is an unsatisfactory alternative. I couldn't stop using drugs and I couldn't deal with life. No longer am I in that dilemma. It says, honestly, and take positive action, the 12 steps. We are willing to admit without reservation. A reservation is something hidden or concealed. Without reservation, that we are allergic to drugs. Common sense tells us that it would be insane to go back to the source of our allergy. What is an allergy? An allergy is an unnatural reaction to a substance or a beverage once inside the human body. An allergy is an unnatural reaction to a substance or a beverage once inside the human body. What's the unnatural reaction? The compulsion, my inability to stop once I get started. And I ain't just talking about drugs neither. I'm talking about newcomers, old comers, the boat, lottery, stealing. Absolutely. But now I don't know, because when I read the literature, it tells me there's a difference between abstinence and being clean. Because clean say free from impurities, dirt, or contamination, need and habit. So what dirt have I got rid of since I've been here? Not much? Well, day at a time. So they say the key. They say unity is the key, a vital element. So what is the element? Another recovering addict. It said a device functioning as a key, the 12 steps. A set of answers to a test, the 12 steps. A table, gloss, or cipher for decoding or interpretation, the 12 steps. A characteristic or level of intensity. You know, how bad do you want this? So you know what? Check this out. This is what we're going to talk about right now. Hot topic. Relationship. And you know, one of the things that I always talk about, how much time he said I got, okay, my man. One of the things I always talk about is the respect that we ought to have for the women and children inside the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. If you notice, one of the things I don't do is use profanity. And I didn't say you had to stop. I said I don't do it. Because I'm a person that comes from American Most Wanted, Chicago Most Wanted, and to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. It was important for me to change my behavior. It was important for me to change my thinking process. And my sponsor said better than anybody I've heard. I stayed around here long enough to change my beliefs so I could start believing I could change. When I first met my sponsor seen me inside that shelter. He seen the damage that had been done from me using. See, I thank God for my sponsor. I honor, I love, and I respect my sponsor. And I hear people say, well, you ain't supposed to put your sponsor on the shelf. As long as I don't put my sponsor higher than God, I got him in a good place. I love my sponsor, believe that. My sponsor has been way better to me than I could ever be to him. I asked my sponsor one time when I was in this facility, I said, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I don't think I can do this. I said, how can I stay clean? My sponsor say, if you change and find God, when you find God, you got to change. See, I know that Narcotics Anonymous is about bringing me closer to the God of my understanding. See, Narcotics Anonymous don't try to change your belief. It just increases it. See, you ain't got to go around here telling people what you believe in. When they see you, they ought to see your belief. So what I'm talking about is, look, check this out. See, a relationship, we be around here, know each other 2 days, and talking about we in love. You know me 2 days, talking about you in love. So what's his name? Melvin. Melvin M. What the hell mean? I don't know. It could mean lunatic. So we need to find out what a relationship is. The word RE means the repetition, means we're going to continue to do something over and over again. The word relate means to relearn. All the ship means is together, mean that we're going to learn something about each other together. Because the relationship ain't you and the relationship ain't me. The relationship is what goes on between us. See, I'm going to learn some things about you, you're going to learn some things about me. I don't eat pork. Does that mean that me and you can't be together? No, it don't. It means we just get 2 skillets. It's about getting into the solution. See, what we do is we think a lot of things around here is based on right and wrong. If you ask anybody in here right now, you say, what's your name? Dennis. I say, Dennis, would you rather feel good or would you rather feel bad? Dennis is going to say, I'd rather feel good. So we gravitate toward the things that give us joy, make us happy, or make us feel good. We avoid the things that give us pain or cause us to hurt. So we need to learn about relationship. That's why a person messes with a newcomer. A lot of persons ain't got no intention of really hurting that newcomer. But the reason we mess with them because we gravitate with what makes us feel good, what gives us joy, or what makes us feel better. So when a person don't learn about no principle, then his feelings is more important than that person's life. Just like the dope. I know the dope wasn't going to stop my problem. I know the dope wasn't going to change my problem. But what the dope gave me was temporary relief. That's what sex will do, give me some temporary relief. When I have sex, I don't think about my problem. I don't face my problem. When I got sex, I got me some temporary relief. So that's what you represent for me, some temporary relief. I don't care about how many days you got. I want to feel different. I want to feel better. I want to feel good. I don't want to think about the hurt. I don't want to think about the pain. We talk about substituting one for another. So I got to learn some principles in my life. See, when we come around here, this is what we do. Let me show you what we do. What's your name, sister? Marla. This is what we do. Me and Marla be together for 3 years, and me and Marla break up. Then we go to the meeting. Somebody got to be the victim. And I sit up and I say, well, you know that sister I was with, she dirty, low down, you understand me? She ain't no good. And if I was you brothers, I wouldn't be with her neither. And I ain't gonna break her anonymity. But we the only person you've been seeing together for the last 3 years. I'm talking about I ain't gonna break anonymity. So somebody got to be the victim. But listen, you got to look at where we come from. We get together, if it don't work out, it just didn't work. God bless you and we move on. I still want you to be happy. This program ain't about character assassinating each other. Ain't about making nobody feel bad so you can feel good. Ain't about putting nobody down to build yourself up. It's about accepting your responsibility for your behavior. Let's look at page 61 and work high and wide. I don't care nothing about it. That's just the way it is. I ain't got to change. Well, let's see what page 61 says. It says when we are confronted with our character defects, either by our own insight or by someone we have hurt, we begin by taking complete responsibility for our actions. We don't avoid responsibility by saying something like, well, God hasn't removed that defect yet, or I'm powerless over my defects and that's just the way I'm going to be. We accept responsibility for our behavior, good, bad, or indifferent. We no longer have our drug use or our ignorance as an excuse to be irresponsible. Well, you know I'm still sick. Can't use that no more. Because this is a program about getting better. If God allowed you to get here, you getting better one day at a time. You talking about you still sick. How you going to help the new person if they the most important person at any meeting? Can you help somebody if you ain't got a sponsor? Sure you can. Can you help somebody if you don't make a beginning on the step? Sure you can. But the literature says you cannot help them to recover. Our primary purpose is to get a message to the addict who still suffers. Our primary purpose is to help the new person recover. And we help them recover by making them get on 12 steps and 12 traditions. That's what we had to get in. So when we get into a relationship with somebody, listen, it's about, look, my sponsor said you got to do 6 things to love a recovering person. Well, what is that? You got to love a person beyond their defects, beyond their behavior, and beyond their mistakes. You got to commit, be responsible, and got to make sacrifices. Why do I got to love them beyond their behavior? Because she going to do some things that I'm not going to like. But in order to live with, I got to absorb them. Why do I got to love her beyond her defects? Because I found out step 6 and 7, I ain't got the power to change her. I can just change me. Why do I got to love her beyond her mistakes? Because we human beings, we have frailties and fallities. We're allowed by God to make them and not by you. Well, why have I got to sacrifice? Because no longer can you make a decision based on yourself no more. That's what steps 4 through 7 is about. It ain't about I, and me. If a woman got 5 kids, them your kids. Ain't no step kids in here unless you intend to step away from your responsibility. If a woman got step kids, that means you intend to step away from your responsibility. When you absorb the woman, you absorb the kids. Now you can't make a decision based on you no more. You got to make a decision based on you, her, the 5 kids. If she got 2 babies, daddy, Pookie, and Ray Ray too. Hey, Hope, I'm telling you, like you say, get rid of that furniture. Because look, if you got a relationship, you understand, with the woman and the children, that's going to contend how you get along with them, the children, is how the relationship you build with their daddies. So it's no longer can I make a decision based on me no more. Then you got to commit. I might want me another gold chain. Her kids might need some shoes. They might need a coat. The bills might need to be paid. It's about to understand me. It ain't based on me no more. My sacrifices got to be a decision based on my family. That's what this is about. It's about growing up. So I got to learn how to be responsible through commitment. Start calling home. Look, I want to buy a pair of pants. Well, what's going on at home? Bills paid? Any of the kids need something? How you doing? You want something? Yeah, I ain't trying to be the man. I'm talking about I'm learning how to be a man. And you might have some men, you understand me? Check it out. You might have some men sitting there right now. Say, well, you know what? All he's doing up there now is trying to impress the women. Well, let's look at it from your point of view. When you gonna join me? So listen, it's about being responsible. See, look, check it out. See, when you learn how to be responsible, look, every man in here that's with a woman, let me tell you something. Don't listen to these people talking about, you understand, all in your business. Look, stay with that woman. Somebody got your best interest at heart, they're going to encourage you. Stay with that woman. Brother, stay with that woman. Woman, stay with that man. Because let me tell you something. I don't care what happened in life. If you're going home to somebody you love, it ain't that bad. See, let me tell you about responsibility. See, listen. If the problem don't mean more to y'all than y'all mean to each other, you're going to work your way through it. If the situation don't mean more to y'all than y'all mean to each other, you're going to work your way through it. See, y'all got to mean more to each other than any problem that come up. Y'all got to mean more to each other than any situation come up. Look, let me tell you something. See, I'm telling you what Narcotics Anonymous is about. I'm talking about as a man. Listen, all the women stand up. All the women. That's how you got to stand up for yourself in here. No longer you got to compromise your principles, your morals, and your values. Start asking these men some simple questions. Start asking these men, why do you like me? Ask the men, why do you love me? Quit accepting them Scooby-Doo answers. Why do you like me? You're accepting answers like Scooby-Doo. Why do you love me? Start asking these men some questions. What plans do you have for me and my children? Quit acting like your kids don't exist. Do you have a job? What plans do you have for us? Why do you want to be a part of my life? All the men stand up. All the men. That's how you got to stand up for yourself in here. No longer you got to compromise your principles, your morals, and your values. God has allowed us to take the principles, the morals, and the values back inside our community, and we blessed to start in Narcotics Anonymous. You understand what I'm talking about? See, you women be selling yourself short. I ain't got to get your hair did, buy you no jean outfit. You understand what I'm talking about? I ain't got to take you to eat. I ain't got to do none of that, because listen here. Once God put a man in your life, he'll break his neck to do that. Because you got some good men in Narcotics Anonymous. Believe that. You understand what I'm saying? So when we don't, you understand me, we don't get along, ain't nobody got to be no victim. You know my sponsor, brother Larry, right there. Man, we was in group, he told me something. I'm talking about, listen, I'm talking about the light come on like the chandelier. He said, listen, because a person love you and cause a person want to love you, they might not know how to love you. See? Person can love you and don't know how to love you. You understand? So you got to start educating the men educate the women. Because listen, man, look, this is what a man do. This is my responsibility. When a brother come tell me, what's your name, Marlon? He come tell me, you with Marla now, Melvin? I said, yeah. Woo, let me tell you about Marla. No, you don't tell me nothing. You understand? You got to stand up for the person you with. I don't care who she was. I thank God for who she is today, and more important than that, I thank God he allowed me to be with her. See? Got to quit gossiping and pointing the finger and character assassinating. You understand? If you done been with 40 men, so what? Make 41 your husband. You been with 40 women, so what? Make 41 your wife. Ain't about judging nobody. I don't know what it's gonna take for you. I know what it took for me. I done had some good relationships since I've been here. I got a good one right now with myself. But listen, look, check this out. Being by yourself ain't no bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Cause listen, see, look here. We think because the situation didn't work out and we by ourselves, something wrong with us. Oh no. I know it's a blessing to be with me. See, because this is what we do. We be talking like this. I say, Larry, I wonder if I'm good enough for Janet Jackson. Oh no. Janet Jackson better wonder if she good enough for me. You understand? Because I was with her sister, you understand, went back out there, and I ain't hit a character assassinate her. I still supported and helped that sister, you understand, but through my sponsor learned me about relationship, learned me how to be a parent. She went back out there after 5.5 years, hit me in the mouth with a phone, did something I never thought a human being never do to me in life, spit in my face. And I ain't talking about no light spit, I'm talking about one of them, you know what I'm talking about? But I've been gang banging a great deal of my life. I know how to take care of myself, please believe me. But listen, y'all taught me something, how to have principles, morals, and values. See, that sister had used, and so we carried a message to the addict who still suffered. That sister was suffering. I could not do anything else to that sister besides what she was doing to herself. That sister was hurting. When you hurt, you got to attack somebody, and I was just available. But I still helped that sister get in treatment. Still supported that sister. She got out somebody else. Helped me to move on, and she moved on. You know what I'm saying? And look here, I got a relationship with him. Because the more healthy my relationship with him, the more healthy relationship we're gonna have with my son. You understand? I take care of my responsibility. She ain't bought my son nothing, and I watched him pop out. I was in the hospital when he come out. She ain't bought nothing from him since he popped out. I'm talking about Pampers, shoes, clothes, things for school, I'm right there. You understand? See, that's what I'm talking about, unresolved issues. See, because most of us, we get angry with the woman and won't take care of the child ain't got nothing to do with it. You understand? But listen, it ain't really the woman or the child, it's our own insecurity. See, when we got low self-esteem tells us it's all right to hurt us. When you got low values about yourself, then you need to be validated by somebody else. You know how somebody beat your brains out, you understand? Say, girl, that man hit you, you ought to leave him. Oh, he still love me, he just a little angry. Ain't no man got no business. Ain't no man, you understand me, have absolutely no reason whatsoever, unless a woman is finna take your life, put your hands on a woman. See, that's what you need to know. This what, and look, I know some men, you understand, they sitting there saying, well, you know, he's talking a little bit too much now. If it disturbs you, get with it. Well, listen, I'm telling you, listen now. See, one thing about a woman and a man in Narcotics Anonymous, if the person you with wake up in the morning and say they don't want to be with you, that's their God-given right. If you wake up and don't want to be with them, that's your God-given right. And the sooner I accept that, the better off I'll be. That's your God-given right. You don't have to be in no situation that's unhealthy for you. God put us together to learn how to love one another. It's a blessing to love one of you sisters. It's a blessing, you understand me, to love one of these brothers. Because once we put principles, morals, and values in our life, ain't nothing better than us. We the greatest people on earth, man. I'm talking about, listen, now Cars Anonymous is way bigger than a meeting. It's way bigger than us. We say self, society, service, and God. Who you think gonna get Pookie off the corner? We is. Don't nobody know what's wrong with Pookie but us. Who you think gonna stop Mary from walking the street all night? We is. Don't nobody know what's wrong with Mary but us. Everything God put life in got an aim and a purpose. Your aim was to get clean. What is your purpose in life? Stan, he said better than anybody ever heard it. He talk about how we're in the emergency room. And when you're in the emergency room, it's like you got a life-threatening situation. And anybody in the hospital can give you blood, but the only person gonna be able to help save your life is somebody with the same blood type. Once you come up here and say you're an addict, we all got the same blood type. So whether you like me or not, I'm the only person can help save your life. You understand? That's why I say, you understand? Why you think God got other nationalities in here? Ain't no accident. It's out of desperation we sought help from each other in Narcotics Anonymous. Don't tell you what nationality it is. It's page 19, the basic text said the only hope, that means there's only one way. The only hope we got is to live by the example of those who have faced our dilemma and found a way out. It don't tell you, you understand me, what nationality it is. It said we can only keep what we have by giving it away. It don't tell you who's gonna give it to you. You in here talking about you blessed and grateful and you believe in God. So God says it's time for you to start doing some godly things. Now you got the opportunity to hug somebody. Now you got the opportunity to grow. Now you got the opportunity to see you've been given the wrong information. See, I know what a good day is. We talking about, well, as long as you ain't used, you done had a successful day. That ain't what the literature said. On page 21, it says, we have found that we had no choice except to completely change our old way of thinking or go back to using. When we give our best, it works for us as it has worked for others. When we can no longer stand our old way, we begin to change. From that point forward, we begin to see that every day clean is a successful day. From the point we begin to change, we see it's a successful day. Until we can no longer stand our old way. Because it said if we don't change our old way of thinking, we'll go back to using. That's right. Don't say what? That's right. See, this is what I know about untreated addiction, unaddressed character defect, and unresolved issues. The reason you stole out there and are still in here, because you ain't got nothing to stop you. Yeah. We talking about having principles in your life. I'm talking about I don't use today because of principles. What worked for you might not work for me. Man, the first step been working since I got here, and y'all gave it to me. It worked for y'all, and it worked for me. I'm talking about the respect that we learn how to have. I thank God that I got respect for women. I don't say bees and them other words. And if you're in a conversation and you're using them funny words, I remove myself. Because I don't want you to affect me or infect me. So it's about getting better. It's about me putting myself in better company. You think you better than me. I ain't better than you, but I'm definitely doing some better things. And that's what it's about. It's about getting better. It's about making some healthier choices. About making some better choices. Get you a man that's got your best interest and your kids' best interest at heart. Get somebody that's concerned. Look, I'm going to say this in close. Take these three things with you and look here. They'll help you for the rest of your life. Communication, care, and commitment. If a man approach you, communicate to yourself. Is this the type of man I want in my life? Do I care about myself enough not to compromise myself for him? Am I committed to the kind of man that I want in my life, that I won't accept nothing less? And everything you presented with, get them 3 C's on it. Do I care enough about, communicate to yourself. Do I want to do this? Is it worth me putting myself on the line for it? Do I care enough about myself not to be involved with this? Am I committed enough to me and my family that I'm not going to do nothing that's unhealthy or cause them something unhealthy? Long as you use communication, care, and commitment, you can never go wrong. I communicate to myself that this is not godly. I care enough about myself not to do nothing that's not God-centered. And I'm committed to doing God's will and not mine. So I always end like this. In this electrifying age, you have men as well as women racing into this life without complete knowledge of where they are going or what the ends will be. When riches seem to be the only pursuit to be obtained anyway and at any cost. When selfishness, avarice, greed, and lust dominates your very being, and when humanity in general is left at the mercy of those who have no mercy in them, like practicing addicts, then it is truly wonderful and astounding to see one come into this mad human drama for the sole purpose of saving humanity, losing sight on those things worldly and yielding absolutely to a cause higher than has ever yet been obtained. This is the purpose of Narcotics Anonymous coming as it does to carry a message to the addict who still suffers. Don't worry about what nobody got to say about you. Don't worry about people pointing at you and judging you. My sponsors say it all the time. The opinion of people can't compare with the power of God. Thanks for letting me share.